Hello and welcome to this webinar with AssessFirst. My name is Hughes. I'm an international account manager for AssessFirst. Today we're going to be looking at attitudes you absolutely have to focus on when bringing new people into your company. Now these days everybody knows that performance is more about attitude than hard skills. In fact, if hard skills can be learned, attitude is something that is far more difficult to change. And as you've probably experienced lots of times, attitude is everything. It commands the way we behave, the way we interact with our colleagues, our bosses, our customers, with everybody. There are absolutely no areas in the workplace that are not hit by someone's attitude: collaboration, customer satisfaction, revenue, and so on. Every single person who wants to create better teams and drive better results in their company has to focus on attitude when recruiting or moving people up from one position to another. But what are the exact aspects of attitude that we have to focus on when dealing with prospective candidates? One of the ways of looking at bringing people into your company is to look at a combination of their hard skills, which are essential for a job, linked to their soft skills, their natural behavior in the workplace. And if we look at our potential candidates, we might find that we have two people with exactly the same skill sets in terms of their qualification and experience. So people at the higher end of this graph who have very strong hard skills, but what can differentiate them is the way that they apply those skills. And this is where personality, motivation, and reasoning come in. How do you behave when at work, and what difference does this make? And we found that when you have someone with the right characteristics, the right personality, the right cultural fit, and the ability to adapt, you will mix with their hard skills, you will have someone who outperforms, who stays longer in the job, and who makes a real difference to your company. And you don't need to take just my word for it. A study by Mark Murphy and Leadership IQ, conducted in 2002, looked at over 20,000 different recruitments within public, private, business, and healthcare organizations. They looked at over 5,247 different recruiters over a period of 18 months, and the results that they compiled were pretty astounding. Is the recruiting process really efficient? Not really, not when you look at these statistics. Mark Murphy found that only 56% of new recruits could be considered successful within that 18-month period. And the complete statistics on that is that only 19% were considered an unequivocal success. But let's stick with that overall figure of 54% being considered successful, and that 46% of those were considered a failure. That's a big failure rate. And when you dig down as to why, only 11% of those failures were due to technical or hard skills, and 89% were due to personality or cultural fits, what could be considered to be behavioral problems. Mark Murphy himself put it very clearly when he said, the typical job interview process fixates on ensuring that new hires are technically competent, but coachability, emotional intelligence, motivation, and temperament are much more predictive of a new recruit's success or failure. Do technical skills really matter if the employee isn't open to improving, if that person alienates their co-workers, lacks emotional intelligence, and has the wrong personality for the job? So, with this in mind, how do we focus on attitude, on behavior, when looking for a new candidate to join our company? We still need to look at their competence, We still need to look at their hard skills, but that will only account for 20% of their success rate within the job. What we need to be looking at is their soft skills, what they can do, what they want to do, and how they will do it. Once you identify these features, the candidate is 80% more likely to succeed in their role. So what are these soft skills? How do you identify them? More so, measure them in order to assess the behavior of a successful candidate. Let's look closely at these three areas: what they can do, what they want to do, and what they will do, to see if we can understand it better. And the first part is really paying attention to what that person can do. What that person can do is directly linked to their reasoning abilities. It controls the kind of problems a person can tackle, the type of situations they can handle, and the speed of their thoughts. If you're looking for somebody who will have the ability to constantly reinvent themselves and learn new competencies all the time, you really have to pay attention to this. To date, reasoning abilities are widely considered by researchers to be one of the strongest predictors of performance in the workplace. A lot of people think EQ beats IQ, but in fact, no, EQ doesn't beat IQ. It gives people with an average or strong IQ a highly competitive advantage over those who are poorly equipped up there. But it absolutely does not compensate for an inability to think clearly and sharply. We're not saying you need to be working with a genius, as the reality of that is fairly complicated, but we are saying that if your goal is to work with really high potential people, you need to make sure that they are fed, so to speak, and that they are working with people similar to them. So, to study this, we want to look at how someone analyzes situations, how they use their skills, how they can manipulate figures, and how they manage the unexpected. Study their critical thinking and decision making, how they make use of relevant knowledge and work with those who have that knowledge, how they complete calculations and resolve problems, and how they demonstrate intellectual flexibility and quick learning. What's more, you need to look at the strength of their brain, but not just the strength, the speed of their thinking as well. You need to be looking at their intelligence, but not necessarily their IQ. It's their mental agility, how they adapt to information and problems. The second part is to be attentive to what that person wants to do. So what you really have to focus on are the fundamental needs of the people you recruit. Not everybody has a clear idea of what drives them on a day-to-day basis. That's the precise reason you have to dig very deep while interviewing your candidates. Basically, there are two kinds of motivators people can be strongly driven by. One is a pursuit of rewards, and the other is an avoidance of threats. If you want to attract proactive and high-contributing candidates, always seek the former. Those who are driven by the need to reach more and to have more are the ones who are comfortable pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone. To look at what motivates someone, what drives them, you need to look at what they want to do, how they want to do it, in what environment they want to work in, and why they want to do it. In order to fully understand what keeps someone motivated in their job, you have to understand the intrinsic activities they prefer within the workplace to give them a sense of reward and fulfillment within their job. This is why the kind of activities someone prefers to do, as you see on the top here, the kind of leadership or management they react best to, and the kind of culture they like to work in are fundamental to understand in order for them to have success in their job. And the third part is to learn to read how that candidate will behave. The way we behave under normal or stressful situations is all about the structure of our personality. Our personality represents the crystallization of all our previous experiences, the way we've been educated, cherished, or rejected during childhood and after. And there's absolutely no surprise that it has such an impact on us and on the people around us. To understand how a candidate will behave in a workplace, we need to look at how they behave with others, their natural behavior within the job, and their personal balance between work and their private lives. Once you study the natural characteristics of a candidate, you will be able to identify marked trends in their personality to see how they will behave when they're working for you. And you'll also be able to understand how they behave in a normal situation, but also in situations of stress. At AssessFirst, we want to empower your people. And then we do that by identifying the 3 areas I've just discussed to try and understand who they really are. And who they really are can be seen through their personality, which we measure through our shape evaluation, their motivation, which I spoke about before, which we look at through drive, and their mental agility, which is measured through our brain test. Our evaluations are designed to fully understand your candidate's natural characteristics, but not only do you as a company get information on each candidate, we also empower your people by giving them feedback after they complete the evaluation. So a candidate, when they've done our evaluation, will receive back a talent cloud of their preferred behaviors, their strengths and weaknesses in how they feel, think, act, influence, and cooperate. We give feedback on their working style, how their relationship is with others, their natural working style, and how they deal with their emotions. With our talent tags, we say what areas they excel in and where they can improve. Drive, where we're looking at motivation, we'll say what motivates that person and what demotivates that person. We'll also give information on the kind of activity that they prefer to do, what kind of manager they're looking for, and what kind of culture they want to work in. And with brain, we look at their preferred working style, their decision-making process, and their learning style. These factors are integral when understanding what kind of candidate you want to bring into your company. And that is why we also empower your company by identifying the 3 factors necessary to understand the attitude and behavior of a prospective candidate. We believe at AssessFirst that a candidate's reasoning, motivation, and personality are the key factors that need to be understood to be able to measure the soft skills of any candidate and to fully understand how they will perform in your workplace. Which is why we have developed our 3 evaluations which study each one of these. So for reasoning, we have our brain evaluation. For motivation, we have drive. And for personality, we have shape. And what's more, we think that if you take all 3 together, shape, drive, and brain, you will understand the natural behavior, the natural characteristics, the natural talents essential to someone succeeding in their job. Not just performing normally, outperforming, staying longer, giving better results. With each of these criteria, we've created a series of algorithms which allow us to understand someone's natural talent. Not only that, when we take those natural talents and evaluate them with our predictive models, meaning we can identify their ability to succeed with a particular job. So you can pull up any candidate's profile on our AssessFirst platform and see how well matched to a job they are. Or you can advertise a job and all the candidates that you receive will be ranked by their potential to do well in that job before you've even had the first interview. Our predictive models also adapt to our customers' need. So you can either take our benchmark models. We have over 300 job profiles on our platform within 26 areas of work in 136 different realms, taken from over 5 million different evaluations, allowing you to quickly analyze the potential of an employee for a certain role. So as I said, any person that's done our evaluation on our platform, you can pull up their details and see how likely they would be to do well in that job from our 300 plus standard models. Or you can take our personalized models, which you can create yourself according to your own needs or your company's needs. These are still based on our benchmark models, but will allow you to look for the profile you want. You can use our intelligent assistants, and we will give you recommendations concerning certain criteria. Or thirdly, we have what we call a talent review, where AssessFirst will actually come to your company, will study your key employees and pick out best practice. We will study what kind of results are obtained in terms of performance, turnover, and targets. And AssessFirst will create a predictive model based on the information that we have gathered from your company, specific to your company. And we will follow that through within a certain time period, or as long from 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, to appraise the model to see if any adjustments need to be made. Whichever of these predictive models you choose, we give a score on each candidate's potential to succeed in a job. And we consider at AssessFirst, anyone with a score of 60% or above is likely to have the potential to perform better, to stay longer, and to be content in their job. What does that look like in reality? So here you can see we have statistics from a company that use the AssessFirst platform, and you can see hires that they made for people between 0 and 40% chance to succeed in that role, 40 to 60% chance to succeed in that role, and 60% and over. Remember that we advise that 60% and over is what we should be looking at. So you can see from the people of 40% and under, the majority of people are underperforming. Just one is overperforming there. From the 16%, you've got slightly less underperforming, but still not that many overperforming. And with 60%, you can see, and this is within the AssessFirst model, you can see that the amount of people overperforming is extremely high as opposed to performing normally or underperforming. Similarly, we work with the large department store, which is called BHV in Paris. And they're an example of a company that uses us, where not only do they use the AssessFirst platform and our ranking in terms of trying to understand their sales guys on the shop floor, they don't look at CVs at all when they take candidates. They just use the AssessFirst platform to understand the soft skills of their candidates coming in. And from working with them, we have increased their performance by up to 15%. We've reduced the recruiting costs by 20%. We have reduced the time to recruit by 30%. And we have also reduced the amount of turnover in their shop by minus 50%. Let's have a look at some of the other people that work with us. If you look at what Pascal Vincent said from Burger King, she said, since we've been using AssessFirst, we cut the attrition rate by 50% on all our managerial positions in our restaurants. BHV said that thanks to AssessFirst's algorithms, we now recruit in under 30 days instead of 45. We reduced the attrition rate by 50% and increased our revenue by 11%. Carrefour said of AssessFirst, our partnership with AssessFirst helped us create development plans for each and every employee in the company. That's something that another subject from this webinar, but also a lot of people use our evaluations and so on. Just in terms of internal movement, in terms of appraisal, in terms of fully understanding the staff that's already working for them there in their company. And AssessFirst itself has over 3,500 customers. We work in more than 30 different countries, and we've already had over 5 million different evaluations done by people all over the world. Here are some of the customers that we work with. We work with quite a lot of retail. We work with Zara. We work with Carrefour, as we mentioned before, Lidl, BHV. We work with Century 21, Taxi, GSET. We work with ING Bank, the Banque Postale. We also work with different consulting firms, different business schools who are looking for graduates. So it gives you a sense that AssessFirst could be used for many different roles, for many different types of positions, and through a wide range of different companies. So that's the end of my webinar. I do appreciate everyone who came to have a look. If you have any questions, you can write them through, and I'll see if I can answer them if it's possible. I've got one here. So Andrew Robbins is asking, hello, will this session be available as a recorded version for me to share with colleagues who were unable to attend? Yeah, when it's finished, we normally put it up on YouTube. So I can, if you write to me personally, Andrew, I can send you the link and you can have a look at it. But we should get it up by this afternoon. If anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to answer, maybe concerning some of the themes that I talked about, different aspects of what I went into. Andrew's asking me what my email address, it was right at the beginning. Let me see if I can go back to bring it up for you there. Let me put it up for you, Andrew. Here you are. Hopefully you can see that. So it's jhughes, HUGHES, @assessfirst.com. Anyone else who's sort of joined the webinar is welcome to write a mail to me if they have any questions concerning it. Yeah, I'll share the link to the webinar a little bit later. I can't see that there's any other questions. I'll wait a little bit longer in case anybody has some. Well, listen, thank you very much to everybody who joined in today. As I said, any further questions after this, you're welcome to contact me either by phone or by email. I look forward to the next time we do a webinar. Thanks a lot.